Okay, hello grade 8. This is the problem from your lockdown task. It's a geometry problem, so I just want to guide you through how to do the geometry problems. So the first thing you must do when you approach any geometry problem is to check that everything that is written in the top of the question is illustrated on the diagram, because sometimes there's extra information in the writing that's not on the diagram. So let's just check. It says, consider the following diagram in which angle DEI, so you go DEI, and it's this angle at the E. Angle DEI is 30 degrees. Okay, so that's marked. We're fine with that. Then it says DE equals EI. So this distance from here to here is DE, and they say that is equal from E is to I. So now nowhere here is it marked that these two are the same length. So it helps to come and make your little markings here to say, okay, I know these two are the same length. And now can you see here, if you have a look here and you go, let's put the highlighter pen on. If we go from D to E, ooh, we went a bit squiffy there. Okay, if we go from D to E to I and back to D, we have a triangle here that's got these two little markings on the side. So immediately this I can see is an isosceles triangle. Okay, so that's one piece of information they've given us. We've marked off DE equals EI. Then it says to you DF is parallel to IG. So let's pick another highlighter color here. And if you have a look, it says to you DF, here is DF, and here is IG, and it says they are parallel. And now you can see that they are parallel because they've put the parallel line markings in. And then it says to you that GH equals IH. Okay, so that's fine. So if you have a look here, here is from G to H, and here is from I to H, and they say they are the same length, and this is marked here by these markings. So if we do this, can you see here? Here is another isosceles triangle. So I strongly encourage you, before you do anything with geometry, is to go and figure out what you already know is going on. So this is a complicated diagram. You can see more than one triangle. Okay, so but if you have a look here, we have an isosceles triangle here, and if we go back, we can color in the other isosceles triangle. Let's make this a nice fat coloring in pen. Here is my other isosceles triangle. So I also encourage you, when you do something like this, take the information from the question and have a look at anything that's missing. And here this DE equals EI information was missing. And then before you even look at the questions, go ahead and see if you can write any other angles down from what you know. So for instance here, this triangle, if it's got these two markings over here, this immediately tells you this is an isosceles triangle. And we know from learning our rules that the angles opposite the two parallel sides, the base angles, this triangle's turned around, so this is a base angle. The base angles are equal. So without even doing a single sum, I know that this 75-degree angle and this is also a 75-degree angle. So that's perfect. We know something that we didn't know before. Now let's have a look at these parallel lines here. Okay, here is my parallel line DF. Here is my parallel line IG, which makes this line here the transversal that cuts them. Now what do we know about parallel lines? We know co-interior angles, but we don't have a co-interior angle because this transversal is too long. We know corresponding angles, but this angle is outside the triangle, so that won't work. But what we do know is that there are these things called alternate angles which make a Z. So here, inside here, will be the other angle of the Z angle, which we can come in now and we can label. So this angle in here will be 30 degrees. Can you see here to here, there is a sideways Z in here. Okay, so we've already worked out some information. Let's go and see what else we need to know from the question. What we can also think quickly is that if this green triangle that I've colored in here, this angle is opposite the congruent side, and this angle is opposite the congruent side. So whatever this angle is, that angle is also going to be. So we just need to figure out what it is. So it says determine the size of angle GIE, give a reason for your answer. So now we've made a bit of a mess on this diagram. Let's go back and we can rub some of this out. Okay, where exactly is angle GIE? Let's have a look over here. Come with the highlighter. Where is angle GIE? So we go from G to I to E. It's this angle in here. So what do we remember? We remember these are parallel lines, and there is this Z shape, or sometimes you can think of it as an N or a Z. Okay, so this angle in here has to be 30 degrees because they are alternate angles. So here 6.2.1, okay, angle GIE, and remember when it's got the little angle there, it means angle, not triangle. So angle GIE equals 30 degrees because alternate angles, okay, and they are alternate angles, not alternative angles. Alternate angles on parallel lines are, excuse my handwriting, equal. Okay, so we've done this one already. Then it says to you, if angle D is 75, okay, that's been marked there. What is angle IHG? Let me rub this orange out here. Is that going to get rid of the orange? Okay, well, we know that one's 30. Let's write this 30 back in here. Okay, it says to you, if angle D is 75, what is the size of I to H to G? Okay, so we need to do a bit of thinking here. And can you see that this is 3 marks? It's not as easy as this one. This means if there's 3 marks, this one's 2 marks, the previous one. So that's 1 mark for the reason, 1 mark for the numerical answer. If this one's 3 marks, it's going to be 1 mark for the reason and 2 marks for the numerical answer. So if you recall right at the beginning, it said to you DE equals EI. So this and this are equal, which makes this angle 75 degrees. Now, can you see there is a straight line here down the side of this triangle? If this is a straight line, and this is 75 over here, and this is 30, we can work out what this angle is. Do you agree? So 75 plus 30 is 105, so this angle must be 75 degrees. Because 75 plus 30 is 105, plus another 75 will make 180, and angles on a straight line add up to 180. So that gives us this angle. Now what we need to look at is we need to look at this triangle over here. Let's color in this triangle a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Look at this triangle over here. See this triangle over here, because this is the corner we're interested in, that corner with the H. Okay, if there's 75, this question came marked that this angle and this angle, I mean this side and this side are the same. They're these little parts of this triangle. So if this and this side are congruent, this angle and this angle are also congruent. So now I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a 75 here and a 75 here, and then there's a 75 here and a 75 here. And these are both triangles. Look, there's the, I'll make this a green triangle, and you can see here they're both isosceles triangles, and they both have base angles of 70 degrees. So if I really want to, I can go work out the angle sum of the yellow triangle. But if I look at this triangle, 75, 75, 30, this triangle is also going to be 75, 75, 30. So this one, 6.2.2, says, what is IHG? So 6.2.2, angle IHG equals 30 degrees. Okay, and then I would give two reasons here. I would say it's the angle sum of a triangle is 180 degrees, or I would say triangle IHG is isosceles. Okay, so there we go. We've got the 30 degrees and we should have our 3 marks. Now it says calculate the size of angle F, give a reason for your statement. So now we are looking for this angle over here. Now if I rub out everything here, okay, let's have a look over here. If I rub all of this out, can you see here? Gosh, it's taking long to rub this out. Can you see here there's yet another triangle that we can look at here? There's this giant outside triangle, D to F to H and back to D. Can you see the whole triangle here? If we look at this whole triangle, here I've got a 75-degree angle, here I've got a 30-degree angle. So what do you think this angle is going to be? Do you remember we had a 75 over here? 75, 75, 30. 75, 30, this has to be 75 degrees. So angle F equals 75 degrees. And then I would say, okay, we can write it over here, 6.2.3, angle F is 75 degrees. And then I would go angle sum of a triangle is 180. So we've now done 6.2.3. Now it says to you, name 2 triangles that are similar to triangle DEI. So our first job is to find triangle DEI. So D to E to I. Here is a triangle. And what kind of a triangle is this? DEI. It is an isosceles triangle, because remember in the beginning it told you that DE equals EI. So I've got an isosceles triangle with base angles of 75 and a top angle of 30 degrees. So what else did I have that had 75, okay, and 75 and 30? Can you see the giant triangle? Triangle DFH is also that kind of a triangle, and also triangle IGH. Now, can you see here's triangle IGH? Because if you remember, these two were also 75 and 75. The thing is now, though, it says give me 2 triangles that are similar to DEI. So here is DEI. So it's going from base to peak to base. So when we name the triangles, we should go from base to peak to base. So this triangle DFH is more correctly labeled, if we're talking about similar triangles, D to H to F, because that is the order when you go from, look at this triangle that we're looking for it to be similar to. We're looking for it to be similar to triangle DEI. So DEI goes 75, 30, 75. So when we label the big triangle, we should go 75, 30, 75, which is DHF, or FHD would also work. They would be similar. So let's do the same thing and check triangle IGH. Are we going base, peak, base? No, we're not. So we're going to scratch this out and we're going to call this triangle I to H to G. Can you see it's the same triangle, but I'm now more correctly naming it, because triangle DEI goes base to peak to base, and this IHG is going base to peak to base. And there we go. We would then have our 2 triangles that are similar to IHG. Let's see if we can erase. all of these things over here so that we only have the correct answer left standing over here. Okay, so I hope you followed and you can see how we get through this question. It's not that hard.